and good morning from Almaty, Kazakhstan. About 9 hours on the bus yesterday, between 3 buses, and finally made it to the hotel and everything. It snowed a couple nights ago, so as you can see, I mean, I saw from the videos from on the bus, but yeah, it's a little brisk here. It's about 14 degrees when I woke up, so I took my time getting up and did a workout in the hotel, and yeah, so let's go see Almaty. So Astana, once called Almaty, has been around about maybe 3,000 years. It was a road on the Silk, or a city on the Silk Road, excuse me. And yeah, it kind of started to die out in the Middle Ages, both from kind of trade along this route dying down, but then also a number of invasions from all different directions. You know how that is. Marauding armies destroying your city over and over and over again. Tough to rebuild, and the area kind of floundered until the 1850s. The Russians built a fortress here in their what's called the Great Game between Russia and Britain, when they were trying to vie for land and influence in this region. Partly because, well, Russia thought Britain would invade them overland through Central Asia, and the Brits kind of thought the Russians would try to seize India overland through Central Asia. Neither of them actually wanted to, so it just led to conquest again. And this was the capital of the Kazakh SSR, while Kazakhstan was an SSR in the Soviet Union, and then in the 90s the capital moved to Astana in northern Kazakhstan. So yeah, this is the biggest city in Kazakhstan, over 2 million people, and it definitely feels like a big city. So yeah, little history lesson for you. So here's why I'm really excited about touring Kazakhstan. A lot of Soviet history here. So this mosaic on the side of the Eurasia Bank building here in Almaty is cosmonauts, so Soviet astronauts, because Baikonur Cosmodrome was the launch site for the Soviet space program, still is a launch site for the Russian space program, and it's where all astronauts from all countries go launch through in order to go on the International Space Station. So just a beautiful mural here, really great to see. Yeah, kind of hard. I mean, I wish I could get a better view of it, but this park here, the trees are blocking it, but let's take a look. Maybe I can. So unfortunately, don't really have a better view out here. Yeah, the trees cover it. That's okay though. I mean, got up close, got to look at it. Really, really nice. I'm glad it's been kept. I know what you're thinking, Sam. We want more bizarre content. Well, I've heard you. So here in Kazakhstan, in Almaty, Zelony Bazaar. And Zelony is, give you a hint, it's a color. It's the color of the building here. That's right, it's green. Good job. So check it out. Get some good bizarre content, huh? Mostly closed. knockoff designer stuff. Looks cozy. Definitely legit Kobe Bryant jersey. What if we go? Like that sweater, defend motherland. So right here in the center of Almaty, Memorial Park. This memorial is to Mokash Bokin, who was a socialist revolutionary for Kazakh SSR, and he was killed in 1918 during the Russian Civil War, Russian Revolution, to make the Russia communist. But on the other side of this big park is World War II monuments, including more monuments to Panfilov. And there's a big cathedral in the middle here. I like this park. Usually memorial parks, war memorial parks, you don't have trees. It's big and open, but I like the trees. It gives you a nice sense of, I don't know, because there's like busy roads all around, but having the trees around, probably helps with the noise. The snow definitely helps with the noise, but yeah, let's go for a little walk. Ooh, got some outdoor workout gear. Always trying to get it in. It's a little cold out right now. I don't know, let's check it out though. Maybe this guy built the park? Vyacheslav? Vyacheslav Yurovich. Yeah. So people can get it in, Let's say you want to go for a walk, but then you're like, hey, you know what? I want to get in some pull-ups here. Little did I know I'd find this today. Let's do it. Okay. Getting 12 in. So this is Zenkov Cathedral in the middle of the park. You couldn't really see it that well from where I was standing, but really beautiful, really colorful. Built in 1907, made out of wood with no nails. So all the pieces of wood they cut, so they fit in exactly together, no wobble. And this actually survived an earthquake in 1911. And one of the theories is that the reason why the belfry didn't collapse is because it was built without nails, because it was more structurally sound that way. Yeah, I wonder if we can take a look. I really like the colors on this, really beautiful.
Это вообще очень опасная вещь.
So in the Victory Memorial, I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's just massive. Soldiers with grenades. Yeah. Really cool. Got an internal flame there. And this building back here is the museum of like the Kazakhstan Ministry of Defense. There's a few other memorials here in this massive park we'll check out, but then yeah, definitely checking out the museum. Okay, this is also a grave. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can see Soviet soldiers with pretty clearly Central Asian features, given this is Kazakhstan. Okay, so we have both the Russian Civil War years there and World War II there for the Soviets. And the soldier is wearing this cap he has wearing was a very standard issue for the communist troops. It was a peaked cap that down in front here would like button across the mouth and chin, and it could open up as well. So yeah, it could either cover your neck when it's hot, or you button it up in front when it's cold. Yeah, so very beautiful shot. So also here in front of the main, before you walk down the main park here, so each of these blocks is a hero city of the USSR during the war. So what these cities were is where there were major battles, major battles where the cities were, suffered a great deal of damage. So Murmansk, Smolensk, Volgograd, Minsk, Kiev, Leningrad, Moskva, Leningrad now, St. Petersburg, Moscow. The other ones, Minsk in Belarus, Volgograd is now. Wait, no, Volgograd is Volgograd. Okay, Kiev in Ukraine. So there were 12 hero cities in all. So 6 over there and 6 here. Brestskaya Krepost, Sevastopol, Odessa, Novorossiysk, Kerch, and Tula. Yeah. So yeah, so Volgograd, sorry, was Stalingrad. I got so this must have been erected after it was renamed. Clearing out the snow. So this is the second time traveling to this like former Soviet Union in winter, and I saw some war memorials. I remember when I was in Ekaterinburg in Russia, and in the winter they were coming in here and they were clearing out these memorials. So, you know, the rest of the city is completely covered in snow, but I mean they've really taken care to kind of clear the snow out here. So just short walking distance over here, Afghan War Memorial. So Kazakh soldiers who died in the Soviet-Afghan War. You can see the names here. And this is a pretty common memorial in terms of kind of how it looks from other Afghan war memorials I've seen of, you know, I'll be like, oh, you know, they're looking sad, but, you know, together, but ultimately kind of a fruitless war that they lost. So it's very, very different from, you know, the glorious memorials you see from World War II of kind of soldiers striving forward to victory. It's a more kind of exasperated, exhausted soldier, which is totally understandable, having gone to Afghanistan myself. Another monument to Major General Ivan Vasilyevich Panfilov, whose 28 men supposedly destroyed, I think, like 18 tanks, hundreds of German soldiers in the Battle of Moscow. Not that. It's a little cold. My lips are not super responsive right now, but yeah. So remember, I talked about it, that the story may or may not be true, and that his regiment was turned into an honors guard regiment, or that was given the honors of becoming a guards regiment. So yeah, still in this main memorial park here, Victory Park. When someone thinks like Soviet, you know, brutalist architecture, design, especially military, like I don't think, you know, it can get much more Soviet military brutalist than this. I mean, domineering, dark, sharp, you know, edges, weapons, the star. Yeah, it's quite a sight. So it's supposedly Google says this is a museum. So we'll see. So it looks like it's an art school, a boxing academy, and then I don't know, a driving school. Alright, let's find this museum. Have no fear, I found it. So there's the front. Kind of walk here, and it's this teal entranceway here. Pretty cool, pretty small. It was mostly focused on Panfilov and his division, and a number of other soldiers that fought in that division. Other heroes, not just the Panfilov 28, but a few snipers, some other like heroic last stands, and then they had a section on other, you know, just the Kazakh military as a whole, and then also a bit on Afghanistan. So it was pretty cool. Just walked in, and then someone who works in museums, or I guess maybe he's that's what I'm looking for here, curator, studied in America, so he spoke pretty good English, and he just gave me a full tour. Very unexpected. I just thought I'd walk through, but no, it was good. Definitely recommend it if you're here. I mean, it doesn't take too long. It's a pretty small museum, so check it out. Let's keep exploring. Good afternoon from Almaty. Had a long, you know, lazy lion this morning. Worked out, grabbed brunch, or breakfast and lunch kind of together. And now I'm gonna go to Almatau. There's a little walking area, like mini hike not even like really a full hike, to see a nice waterfall, and then hopefully check out some hot springs. Because you know I'm all about that hot spring content. Love me some hot baths. Let's do it. So made it to Almaty, about a 45-minute drive. Pretty easy. It cost like 3,400 tenge, which is about $7.50. So not bad. There's a bus that goes back, so not too worried about how I'm gonna get back. But yeah, kind of just a nice walk. Hot springs at the end, supposedly. I mean, they're on the map, so I just got to walk there. It's kind of funny though. So I mean, you know, this isn't like long or crazy trail. I mean, you can keep going if you want. There's roughly about a 10-mile hike to a lake. We're not a lake, like there's a long trail that goes about 10 miles, and most people here aren't doing that. They're just doing like a short up and back. But they have like all kinds of really expensive gear and equipment, which is always kind of funny to me when people wear really expensive equipment. Sorry, lost my train of thought because it's so scenic. When they wear expensive equipment just for, you know, a little short outdoor hike. It reminds me, my brother and I went to Iceland like 7 years ago, and we did like this bus day trip that, you know, would stop and you'd walk a few hundred meters up to a waterfall or something. But you have people wearing all the most expensive like hiking, mountaineering gear, and then my brother and I in hoodies and jeans and running shoes. And yeah, that's kind of how this feels, except for, I mean, this is snow, so walking on it just in my regular shoes, it's a little slippery, but it's not bad. So walking along here, it goes this way, but this felt a little unsafe. You can see it's like wired, so a little nervous walking on this, I'll be honest. But yeah, before I was checking the map, and I was like, wow, I'm already halfway through. This is easy. And then famous last words, it immediately went uphill. Probably like 20-30 degrees and all snow. So there were some people slipping and sliding. So I, knock on wood, have not fallen yet. But if I do, that'll just be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Me really sticking my foot in my mouth after I talk shit on people, and I'm just out here in like normal workout shoes. Yeah, that learned a lesson the hard way. Hot springs. I think I'm gonna go further because I want to see a waterfall before I come back to the hot springs. Let's take a look. Hot springs are there. Don't really know what this is. It's kind of cool. Obviously, this is where sacrifice happened. Everyone around here would say Kali Ma, Kali Ma. But I wonder what that is. It's all fenced off, and there was a warning sign over there to not go further. So back down along this route. And over there, I think, it's a waterfall. So let's do it. Hopefully you can make it out. But these guys here are swimming in the river. Crazy Russians, you know? They love swimming in their cold water. Well, I guess a lot of Northerners do, you know, Finns do it as well, so it's not only crazy Russians. Not even crazy, just Russian. Well, I found the waterfall. It's a little smaller than I thought. I'd get closer, but I don't want to be walking on this ice. That looks treacherous, and they're in proper hiking boots. So yeah, let's just take a look here. Yeah, maybe you can keep going that way. But I'm right back here. It's really just incredibly scenic view. Found some pull-up bars, so let's get it in. Oh, slid right into the camera there. Yeah, a little lightheaded because we're at like 9,000 feet, so it just came up like 5,000 feet. All right, let's get in the hot spring. Well, I can say I've dipped in the Almaty hot springs. You can see where that guy is right down there. You can get in the river too. I did that. However, I made a critical error in my preparation coming out here. I didn't bring a towel or flip-flops, so I was, let me navigate down here first. Like a freaking old man. So I stood here for a bit, you know, pondering, oh, should I do this or not? At first I was going to be like, no, I won't. And then I'll just say, oh, you know, I left my swim trunks at home. But I was like, no, fuck it, I came out here to do this. So, Water? Что?
Вы блогер?
Vlogger?
Да.
Oh. Немного на YouTube. Friendly children. So I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so I changed, put on my trunks. The water wasn't as hot as I was hoping it would be. That's okay. Dipped in the river, so that was real damn freezing. And then afterwards I kind of air dried in the freezing weather, or freezing air, and then used my hat to kind of go like that. But yeah, so right now my toes and fingers are blocks of ice. But
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
С праздником. Нас не снимали?
Там все нормально. And where was I going with this? I don't know, my brain can't think right now because I'm so cold. What was I saying? Yeah, I dried off. Well, sort of dried off. And then, yeah, put my clothes back on. Yeah. And my water that I brought out here that was refrigerated is in a, like the water should be cold when I drank it. Tasted warm, so that's how cold I am. But I guess it could be worse. I could have been here yesterday when it was 15 degrees colder, and then it'd be a lot worse. I can already feel sensation coming back into my toes and a little bit into my hands. So I'm gonna put my gloves on because these are a little chapped. But yeah, fun times. So I have a wall here for the 50-year anniversary of the Socialist Revolution. You can see workers, soldiers, tractors, firefighters, I think. Right next to a whiskey. Yeah, and it's on the side of a theater, кинотеатр.
Там все горы вот так круговой. А в Чебулак вы не ездили, что ли?
Left Almaty a little early today. Go to Charyn Canyon, 2.5 hours-ish outside of the city, but 2.5 kilometer walk through this valley. It's supposed to be pretty otherworldly, so we'll see. Himalayas?
Yes, Himalayas in India, between India and China, and also we have a lot of other systems. But now
So it's windy up here. I was just walking down through there. And then we walked back. We came up here, went there, and went up here. Yeah, it's about 2.5, 3 kilometers. Really cool, really beautiful. It's a lot more red in the summer, you know? I guess snow has something to do with it. Okay. Last day here in Almaty. Catching a train tonight out of here. My backpack ripped. Can't believe my 17-euro backpack that I got in a fast fashion H&M Turkish equivalent store in the Istanbul airport. 17 euros. And it ripped. Unbelievable. So got my handy dandy sewing kit. Let's see if I can sew it. Okay, leaving Almaty, waiting for my Yandex taxi to go to the train station. Taking the night train to Karaganda. Really excited. I love night trains. My bag that ripped, I fixed it, but then there was a much bigger rip, so I had to go buy a new one. $25 Kappa bag. Maybe it'll last longer. We'll see. The Yandex. Just made it here to the train station. Very fancy and modern. Let's get in here and find our train. Yep. I put the camera away there because I forgot about security and all these stations. But yeah, pretty nice. Pretty fancy. So let's see, we want train 043, track 3. Yeah, even at 6. Let's find our way to platform track 3, railway 3. Let's do it. Alright, let's get on this train.
Здоров.
Здравствуйте.
Заходи, один. Подожди. Вот эту вот хуйню надо. Поднимай. Осторожно, руки не прижми. Вот так. Не, спокойно вверх тяни. И вон там хуйню одевай с кобу. Видишь? Вот. Sağ ol. Yukarıda koyun mu?
This buffet in the 7th cat wagon. I'm in wagon number 15, I think. It's very hot, my wagon, so the cold air is not bad.
Откуда вы?
США.
США?
Да.
Едете в Кустанай?
Извините.
В Астану?
Куда едете?
Астана, Караганда.
Караганда.
Караганда?
Да, я был в Узбекистане, Кыргызстане, я сейчас
Везде, да? Путешествовать.
Да, путешествую, да.
Как вас зовут?
Сэм.
Альмира. Вы не запомните. Kaç
Вот
adet?
я,
500. 500 gider mi?
Bizga arzonroq bo'lmoq keyin. Шоу партнер.
Быстрос.
Балтика, пожалуйста.
А вы где будете пить? В каком вагоне?
15.
15 вагон? Осторожно, вы вам не разрешают уже? Ага. Не разрешают пить, но...
Да, я знаю, я не можно выпить.
Аккуратно, осторожно можно. 1000 тенге. Америка, 1000 тенге. Америка, где вы находитесь?
Извините, сколько?
1000 тенге. 1000 тенге.
1000. Да, да.
А русские где учились?
Я решил изучать во время COVID-пандемии, потому что я дома и я хотел делать
Хотел
что-нибудь.
путешествовать, да?
Да, я был в России и Украине, но я не мог говорить раньше, а потом после этого я хотел изучать. Да.
В Азию, да? В
Да,
Азию.
да.
Нормально. Вот так случайно посыльно. Если когда поедешь в Америку?
Sorry?
Когда поедешь в Америку обратно?
В пятницу.
В пятницу?
Да.
Летаешь?
Да.
В эту пятницу, да?
Да, я был все 3 недели отпуск.
3 недели, да? У тебя виза, да?
Да, я был 4 дня в Almaty и только 1 в Karaganda, а потом 3 в Astana.
А Астане улетает, да?
Да.
Хорошо. Привет передай всем. американцам. Уже с нами.
So they sell beer on the train. You're not really supposed to drink it, or you're not supposed to be seen drinking it. So you gotta sit in your room and drink it in private. But yeah, I got a Baltica.
Yeah, фотоотчет.
Yeah, on the night train, Almaty to Karaganda with my new friends, новые друзья,
Да.
Pavel.
Да. Нет, это мне. Это чё?
Отдел.
Вот так пальчиком. Тук-тук. Делай. Вот так. О! Красавчик. И ты так же делай. Ты потом в интернет это пойди повесишь, да?
Да, and then we were drinking just a little bit of cognac, enjoying the train.
Then you can put the camera upper. They can see me. Yay!
Yeah, it's wide, so it picks everything up.
Ну смотри.
Только немного.
Ну, ты включил, да?
Да, немного.
Я ему первый раз накапал сильно. Понятно?
Да, хорошо, спасибо.
Вот, и он немножко запереживал. Ага. Ну, на, бей. Сосиску тести. Прикола.
За здоровье. И новые друзья.
Давай. Приезжай почаще.
Hey, turn it up.
Okay. Here with another еще один cognac. С Panfilov и Adil. The night train across Kazakhstan.
Давай.
За здоровье.
Сосиску в тесте кушай, давай.
Спасибо.
Точно магистра получишь.
Ну, точно отвечаю.
Хороший парень.
Классно.
Тебе чуть-чуть один.
Да, так же.
Так же? Я смотрю, у тебя налаживается все. Мне много.
Да, я не знаю почему.
Че я одну взял, а? Блин, вот второй раз ошибаемся.
Собака в воздух пьянит, что ли? Никогда ненавидел запах коньяка, а тут у вас,
Хорошая
блин.
обстановка, ты че? Будешь? Давай. Сосиску будешь тестить?
Не,
Чего вы не едите ничего?
Да, я
Надо-
эту так. Ну,
Нормально. Давай, батюшка, давай. Он молодой совсем мальчишка, господи, ему 22 года.
Большая работа.
Мальчик совсем еще.
не. Для кого-то мальчик.
Окей, Павел,
Ну а что?
покажи нам, как дела.
Как делать?
Я уже устал,
Ну, тут уже
обезьяна.
наша.
У меня проблем нет. Ну давай, дорогой, за твое здоровье. О,
За здоровье.
За здоровье. Ну. Легко и просто.
ах,
Да.
Ну.
Ой.
Үшінші жолдағы басқарып көшіруші Алматы Қостанай бағытындағы жолдар пойызынан өтіп жатыр. Вагонның направлениесі соңынан қозғалады. Пойыздың кешігімділігіне байланысты аялдауға қатысады.
Made it to Karaganda. It's 12 degrees out, minus 11 for these Celsius types. Museum closes for lunch that I want to go to, the KarLag Gulag Museum. So gonna explore the town a little bit. And then I'll be back here for my train later. Yeah, so let's see what happens. Karaganda train station in Karaganda. So yeah, the museum I want to go to, the Gulag, closes for an hour. It kind of throws a wrench in my timing and my plans here. So the plan is I'm going to go probably grab a bite to eat, cafe and coffee, do a quick walk around in Karaganda, see some of the monuments here that I wanted to see. I'm a little behind schedule because the train was late, but we'll make it work. Got to be back here, and my train leaves in 4.5 hours, so yeah, I got time. So here in Karaganda, a monument to Yuri Gagarin, really, really cool one, really gorgeous. Really cool. Yeah, very lovely monument. Up to the stars. So right next to the fire station here is a monument to firefighters. So that's what it's pretty cool to see. I like it. Saving babies. Someone has to do it. Almost walked right past it without realizing it. So be more monuments to firefighters, I think. That's my stance. So I'm looking for a monument to all the heroes of kind of socialist revolution. But I'm here in Victory Park, and I think it's in here. Maybe it's behind this wall. I mean, I'm seeing heroes of the Soviet Union memorial plaques, but hopefully it's here, because one of the monuments that was supposedly here wasn't here in Karaganda. So I wasted like a half hour. I have limited time, so I'm not happy about that. But this looks like it might be right. There's an artillery piece there. Maybe I just approached it from the wrong side. Let's see. Eternal flame. I mean, there we go. That's pretty cool. It's not what I thought I would find, if I'm honest. I thought there was another statue. But definitely cool. Again, you have the victory cities here. There's heroic cities that were awarded honors for major battles. And the flame. So yeah, very nice monument. It's not what I thought I would find here, but I'm not complaining. So made it. So KarLag Gulag Museum. A taxi driver dropped me off. He's gonna wait. and then we'll get back to Karaganda. But yeah, so this area was where a lot of undesirables in the Soviet Union were sent. So Volga Germans, Belarusians, Poles, Jews, Chechens, Ingushians, you know, a number of different ethnic religious groups who at varying times were seen as threats or had to be moved. Had to be moved or removed due to yeah, just wanted to move them out and move ethnic Russians or other Soviet peoples in. So a monument there, memorial. But let's go in and check it out. So I'm just waiting for the cashier, but looks like I have to pay a good amount of money if I want to record, so let's see, we'll see. Don't know if I will. So just finished it. Really cool museum. A lot bigger than I thought it'd be, a lot of dioramas, very informative. So this was like the main building for the KarLag Gulag system in Kazakhstan. And from this building, Soviet officers basically ruled over a prison system that covered the geographical footprint the size of France. Hundreds of thousands of prisoners doing industry, agriculture during the war, also advancing like science because they imprisoned political prisoners who were scientists in, you know, every field. So just kind of overwhelming almost in some instances. And it also talks about the famine that hit Kazakhstan in the 1920s. So like in Ukraine, there was a Holodomor during that time. There was also a famine here for forced collectivization, and there were reports and, you know, direct telegrams from Moscow to, you know, these areas, and in return saying, okay, you know, send this many million pounds of wheat, you can allocate this much that's left over, but there wouldn't be that much left over. And then the return telegrams basically documenting how many people were dying from the, you know, officers of these cities and regions. So really interesting. Just hundreds of thousands of people were for decades prisoners of slave labor for political or ethnic reasons. You know, sometimes they had no control over it. During World War II, Stalin decided that all ethnic Germans were traitors, and so they were sent here to this region as well. 70,000 Germans were, you know, Germans who were Soviet citizens were sent here simply because they were born German in the Soviet Union. So really great museum. I absolutely recommend it if you are ever in the region. Waiting for the last train of the trip, going to Astana, the last city of the trip. So yeah, about four hours and change on this train. Looking for wagon 11. Rolling in now. Here we are. Don't know what that is. But yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. On the evening train to Astana from Karaganda. And one of the reasons I've decided about coming to Kazakhstan, their flag, a lot of people's favorite flag. I love it. Is it my favorite flag? Not sure, but it's up there. And also, what I've noticed, what I've seen before I came to Kazakhstan, I saw it in Russia, was this brand Kazakhstan chocolate with the flag. So kind of everything, you know, two things I love, chocolate and flags in one. So now the real flag does not say Kazakhstan chocolate on it, obviously, and doesn't have the company name. But other than that, this is the flag, the turquoise, and you see this gold design running down, an eagle and a sun. So the sun is 32 rays. Underneath is the golden eagle. The golden eagle is important for, I mean, Kazakh, Turkic, Uyghur, Uzbek people as well. It's been part of the symbolism for centuries. This design is called the Horns Ram, or the Kashgar Muiz, and it is a cultural design of the Turkic peoples. Not Turkish, Turkic. So really, like I said, 2 in 1. Good chocolate, good flag, 10 out of 10 for me. If you're ever in Kazakhstan, I recommend it. So, pretty good. Astana, it's 4 degrees or negative 15. It's brisk. Let's go to the Yandex Star Hotel. Take a shower. Golden Garden, let's see. Golden Garden Astana. Wait, there's 2 of them? Hold on, which one am I staying at? First view of Astana. Let's minimize how long we're out here. Good afternoon from Astana. Kind of in this middle long walkway here to this tower. 93, I think 93 meters, maybe higher. I suppose you can go up in it. But yeah, the ultra newish, modern capital of Kazakhstan. It was always a city here for like a regional transportation hub during Silk Road times, Islamic times, and then during the Soviet Union as well. This was a infrastructure transportation hub. But then in the 90s, when Kazakhstan got its freedom, they decided to make the city the capital due to the, I guess, potential to expand into a large city. Whereas Almaty was already, like, you know, pretty set. For a few years, the city was named Nur-Sultan after the president, but it was renamed back to Astana. So from 2019 to 2022, it was Nur-Sultan. And then after some controversies, it was renamed Astana. So let's go for a walk along this. I think it's like a mile-long walk. So let's check it out. It's pretty cold too. It was in the negative Fahrenheit earlier, like overnight, but right now it's about 10-11 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's like what is it, like negative 13 Celsius, something like that. Yeah, let's do it. Inside the giant golden dome now, as you can see. That's where I walked from. Walked up here, popped into the mall for a quick bite to eat, and then walked up here. It's a nice walk. I'm sure in the summer it's really pleasant, but right now it's all those stones down there are either marble or just like really slick, so it's a little bit of a treacherous walk. Yeah, really nice view up here of all of Astana. Fortunately, the weather's decent. Learned all about this tent, which has a Guinness World Record, I guess, for the biggest tent. Yeah, so what a big view of Astana. Let's walk around here. So 97 meters. That's the height of this big globe, golden globe. That there is the president's house. White Headquarters is the name. I can't remember the name in Kazakh. It was much more difficult to pronounce. Yeah, and then some of these other buildings around here are different government ministries or business centers. Yeah, this is, of all the places I've been, definitely feels like the least Soviet, I guess, to say. By that I don't mean like, so like, I don't know, like the least amount of leftover Soviet influence in terms of like just the architecture of the buildings. I mean, the big open parks, big walkways, I mean, obviously very European feeling, but no, because most of these buildings, especially the city center, was built in the 90s and early 2000s, so it's much more modern and much more akin to, you know, maybe some of the cities you'd see, you know, like UAE, Qatar, maybe London, some of the buildings and designs. So yeah, it's interesting. Let's go see the rest of Astana. All right, here at the Military Historical Museum, Armed Forces of Kazakhstan. So it's always like going to military museums, I mean, because I love military history, but also it's always interesting to see the bias that different countries have. But I also, one reason I'm excited, and I just got excited when I pulled up here, and I didn't know that they had all these static displays out here. So let's start with a little air defense action. SA-3 Gammon, surface air missile, short range, medium range. So these missiles here, from here back, this is a booster. So when it launches, you can see these actuators here. This rotates back. You can see for some reason this one is already back here. But anyway, this blasts off, so it goes, you know, a few times the speed of sound instantly, and then after the boost, after the gas is out of that or the fuel, that breaks off, and there's a secondary booster here. So it's a much smaller missile. much more difficult to see once that initial boost phase is done. But yeah, these shot down some coalition aircraft in Iraq. So it's definitely a capable system. Yeah, the S-125, what NATO calls the SA-3. So 18, so just over 12 miles. Oh, you can number of targets, so it can track 2 targets but engage 1. Time of sacrifice, I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, so interesting. And then a bunch of other ground vehicles, artillery pieces, infantry fighting vehicles, APCs. Got some aircraft over there I'm excited about. So yeah, let's check it out. I mean, just looking, it looks like it's got some Sparty, BTR-80, BMP-2. Is it T-72? I'm not as good with tanks. I could be wrong. T-64. T-64. Here we go. The ZSU-23. Yep. Shilka. So this thing, you can see the 23, so ZSU-23-4, so 4 23mm guns. That's what that 23-4 means. And there's a radar mounted on the back here, so that flips forward and scans out, and that provides range for the guns. Well, no, it can radar track too, I think. Yeah, I think that can guide as well. Classic T-34. And it wouldn't be a former Soviet power, or former Soviet military museum. It didn't have grad MLRS system. So the what's what I'm looking for here, the successor to Katyusha rockets, the 2S1, and then the next generation of self-propelled artillery guns, 2S3. Okay, that's what I want to take a look at. So it looks like a MiG-29 UB. So whenever you see Soviet aircraft, unless it's a not specialist, but like it's designed intentionally to have 2 seats in it, like the Su-30, so the back seater is like a weapon systems officer. But when you see like a MiG-29 or an Su-27 with 2 seats, or even like a Su-25, UB is usually the additional designator. I can't remember exactly what it means in Russian, but the joke is, UB, other buddy, because you've got another buddy in the back seat there. So, I mean, this is a really nice color scheme. The Kazakh Air Force roundel is definitely one of my favorite ones. I mean, at first you see the red star. When you take a look at it, you got the gold star, or the gold sun, but then you've got the Kazakh flag eagle from the flag as well. So, and on that blue tail, I mean, that's just a really nice roundel. Oh, so this is an old missile. I think that's a ATOL A8. Let's see if this says. I'm getting my Vizreki mixed up here. Yeah, so MiG-29 doesn't say the exact look. I mean, this is definitely one of the earlier models. More upgraded MiG-29s you'll see. So this spine along here, along the back of the fuselage, you'll see that bulges out with more upgraded avionics and fuel. It's covered over this red ball right here. That's the IRSTS, the infrared search and tracking sensor. So what that provides to the pilot is a way to track aircraft without, it's a way to passively track. So radar is active guidance or active tracking, where the radar is sending out emissions to bounce back. IRSTS is relying on incoming infrared signature, and then that passes to the aircraft. So yeah, I'm just taking a look at the missiles here because I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, so I had to look it up just to make sure I was right. So this is the, or to prove myself wrong, this is the AA8 aphid. So what was it, the R60? Just want to double. So the Soviets named it the R70. What am I saying here? The R60, sorry. And the Americans, NATO, call it AA8. So AA, air to air, 8, just the numerical designator. Some rocket pods here. And over there, when I was talking about the surface to air missile system, the SA-3, so surface to air number 3, that's how NATO designated it, whereas the Soviets called it the S-125. Yeah, so I'm already really enjoying it. This is my favorite museum so far, just because the SA-3 and the MiG-29. I love a good static display, so let's see what the rest of this museum's got. So inside the first exhibition hall, I had to record because I saw this and I was like, oh, that's kind of a funky Sukhoi. I mean, very skinny back there, but then it's all kind of janked up. But then I saw the placard here that says model of the MiG-30 fighter. So MiG-30, not the Sukhoi, not the Su-30, not the MiG-29, the MiG-30. It'll be in the next, I think it's the follow-up to the MiG-28, so it'll probably be in the next Top Gun movie. But yeah, some more aircraft. This is a MiG-21 cockpit. So, geez, that's tiny. That is small. Interesting features, or one of those things, like it's a feature, not a bug. So the way Western fighters, or like cockpits, were designed would be called a hub and spoke. What that means is your most important instruments will be closer to the center, and then everything else will be around it. So your attention will be, you can look in the center and then to whichever instruments you need really quickly, and then you can keep scanning around outside of the aircraft and then glance down, see what you need to see really quick, and then glance out. For Soviet aircraft design, it wasn't quite like that. It was more the engineers just put the different instrument displays where they could fit, and so it was a bit more task saturation heavy for the pilots. Now this interesting turquoise color isn't because we're in Kazakhstan, they love turquoise. This color is actually on the inside of all Soviet Russian aircraft, and I've never really found out why. The main kind of theory reason I've seen is because supposedly light blue is the most calming color, and so for pilots under duress, or for the export models where the pilots would not receive as much training, you know, potentially this blue color would keep them calmer in more dire dogfight situations. But I don't know how much I believe that. So this here is the radar warning receiver. And so you got your aircraft in the center there, and the different lights around it will say where a threat is coming from. And then this white line here, another thing I've seen is that when an aircraft goes into a spin, it's not controllable. Your sense of balance is thrown off. You have loss of, your balance essentially. And so this white line is painted here so that one of the easiest ways to get out of spin, go nose down to regain control. And so to push the stick down towards the white line to keep in line with that. And so while you're moving around, because you're spinning, just trying to keep it there. So yeah, a little bit interesting, but God, this is a tiny cockpit. I wonder if I'm able to find out. this is small and not great visibility. Okay, let's get out. I don't think I'm supposed to do this. Cool. So love me some good scale models. You know, we got the big boy, the Mi-171, like the largest helicopter, military helicopter definitely. MiG-29, Su-30, that's a Russian Su-30. C-27, interestingly, or C-295, excuse me. Then a Chinese Wing Luoyang drone. But yeah, you can see some of them in action. Mi-24, definitely my favorite attack helicopter. It's just so mean looking. Some other military equipment here. And then a Su-30 SM, but then MiG-31, one of my, I mean, I'm a big fan of it. It's a cool, it's a super heavy, high altitude interceptor, really powerful radar, really long range, air-to-air capabilities. But I mean, I just think it's so mean looking. So Kazakhstan is the only country that flies them besides Russia. Ukraine used to, but not anymore because they're, I mean, just in terms of what they're needed for, Ukraine didn't really need them. Their MiGs and Sukhois are capable enough for that. But yeah, kind of wonder why Kazakhstan still is, because I mean, they're designed for high altitude intercepts against American bombers. So, you know, they'd be stationed in the north of Russia and then fly up over the Arctic and shoot down incoming bombers. Yeah. So, an SA-5, a really long range, old surface-to-air missile system. So these little rockets on here are boosters, and so this will launch. And then after these 4 run out of fuel, they pop off, kind of like how you see Space Shuttle. The boosters fall off of that, very similar. SA-2, also old system, surface-to-air missile system. Shot down a lot of American aircraft in Vietnam and coalition aircraft in Gulf War I. So old system, but still very capable. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool museum. So here in the World War II section, there's a little bit here to the Soviet fighting against Japanese forces in Manchuria. But it's kind of funny because it makes it sound like Japan only surrendered because of the Soviet Union entering the war. I mean, like, in this bit and then here, it talks about how, you know, there's like 1.3 million Japanese troops in Manchuria, so the Soviets attacked and liberated the area, Sakhalin Islands, and then Japan surrendered because they couldn't withstand the onslaught of the Soviets. And it's only in like one of the other throwaway lines it says it can't it couldn't withstand the Soviets, or what'd it say? Like it couldn't stand up to both the Soviet Union and the Allied forces, as if like the other allies hadn't been defeating Japan for the last 4 years. You know, and they attacked right before the atomic bombs fell in Japan. So, I mean, not to take away from the Soviets who fought in Manchuria, but just kind of, I guess you could say, the historiography of it, how it's being covered, and making it sound like Japan only surrendered because the Soviets were getting involved when they'd been sitting quiet in this area for the entirety of the war, which is what was agreed to. I'm not like trashing them sitting out. They were dealing with the Nazis. That was a big enough threat, and it was agreed between the Allied powers that Russia would not, or the Soviets would not fight, you know, Japan while the Nazis were still a threat. So, but it's just kind of funny. It makes it sound like Japan surrendered even though they fought for less than a month. One of the more interesting things I've learned about Kazakhstan, before, during, and after the Russian Revolution, there were a number of uprisings, rebellions here against Russian rule. So, I mean, it's not it's just my ignorance coming through. I mean, I knew like the Russian Revolution was fought here as well, but I guess I didn't know that there were rebel bands still fighting against the Soviets into kind of throughout the 20s and into the 30s a little bit. I mean, I learned a little bit at the KarLag Gulag Museum yesterday, but yeah, definitely interesting because I kind of thought that once the Soviet Union was established, kind of that was it. They had control. But I guess what I've learned is that in Kazakhstan, at least, there were a number of, I mean, small rebellions, not making it sound like there were major uprisings, but still a number of rebel bands that fought back against Soviet rule. So just interesting. Didn't really know that. This is a pretty interesting museum. This is the 20th century. So mostly focused on World War II, Great Patriotic War, a little bit on the First World War. But yeah, interesting. And then there's a bit on the Revolution. So right here in the center of the museum, there's ancient Kazakh-Turkic warriors from different periods of time. I shouldn't say ancient because it's from ancient times through today. But it's pretty cool. I really like this part with all the different warriors. Yeah, overall pretty good museum. And it's free, so that's really nice. Love a good military museum. Let's see what the rest of Astana has. From someone in Almaty when I told them I was going to Astana was, it's like Almaty but with no soul. Kind of like I mentioned, it's a new city, newish, so it's very spread out. Like where I thought I could see everything I wanted to today, but I'm not going to be able to. I mean, it's fine, I'll see it tomorrow, but there's like 3 main areas I wanted to walk to, and normally that wouldn't be a big deal, but it was like over an hour walking between each area probably. I'd take a Yandex, I still won't be able to see everything that I want to. I mean, it's just like big roads. It's kind of hard to get around. You just walk to footbridges that go over the highways, or there's a 8-lane road. Anyway, enough of that. And then I'm walking slow because like you can see it's like really smooth, and then there's like a very thin layer of ice over it. I'm going to is the museum of the first president of Kazakhstan. So just how much they love him, or he loves himself. Got some really interesting reviews. So also supposedly it's hard to find. It's in here somewhere, but as you can see, it's kind of locked up. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I have to walk through this park to find it. But yeah, it's somewhere around over there. So that wasn't the museum. It used to be the museum, but it moved. And Google still shows it there. It's on the other side of town, where I was at yesterday, so that's really great. I thought I was come hang out in this area, see a couple things, and go back and rest, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll go now. Kind of a real bummer. We'll see. I'm gonna go to this monument up here. Hopefully it's still here. It's kind of a, I don't know. I guess if you come to this area, download 2GIS. That's the map everyone recommends. I've been using Google Maps. And Google Maps just isn't as accurate as 2GIS. And it struggles sometimes when writing in things in Russian versus English. So I learned that. I should have downloaded 2GIS earlier. So I think a few days ago at the KarLag Museum, I kind of double spoke. So I spoke about famines in Kazakhstan and Ukraine. There were multiple famines in Kazakhstan, one in 1919, 1920, and another during 1932, 1933. The one that overlapped with Holodomor in Ukraine was 1932, 1933, and I think when I was talking about the 1919, 1920 famine, I talked about Ukraine as well, and that was a error on my part to mix them up. But there is a monument here in Astana to the Holodomor in Kazakhstan, because that happened here as well. Forced collectivization, so a man-made famine where the locals, the Kazakh people were sending out more grain, more wheat than they should have, and as a result, people, millions of people were starving. It's estimated 1.5 to 2.3 million people died in Kazakhstan, about 40% of the population, which is just staggering numbers. And the memorial here is very, poignant, eerie, kind of captures the feeling of, it's a man-made famine, so people are suffering, they're dying, and the government really doesn't care. The Kazakh Communist Party enforced the famine, the collectivization of the food, and sending it off to the rest of the Soviet Union. So this is in the Kazakh parliament ratified it as a genocide in the 20-teens. So yeah, this is the last monument I wanted to see here in Astana. And it's really it's beautiful, it's moving. Yeah, it is 12:34 a.m. I am at the new Nursultan Nazarbayev Airport outside Astana, built in the last few years. Going home. Flight's in 3.5 hours, but I got nothing else to do, so let's get in here, go to a lounge, and hang out.